Working on a cutting board. This is actually going to be for myself. I had these two big pieces of walnut and these Purpleheart. These are all available from Swaner hardwood. I ordered them from Home Depot. Quick shipping, really love the company. Almost all my hobby boards I buy from them. They also do have their mill in Burbank. They say that you can go there and get whatever you need, good deals. I've got this shaped up to where I want it. I have a couple limitations. The first one is the DeWalt planer that I have is 13 inches, and I mean, you can go bigger than that, but you need a drum sander or a router jig to be able to flatten it. So I'm just gonna make this one under 13 inches and just use the planer to finish it up. I do have a little bit of bow in these end pieces, but with tension, it will put pressure on the ends and it should be fine. I mean, they're straight, they just have a bow. So I did mill these pieces of Yellowheart. I ordered this block of Yellowheart from Etsy, and it wasn't too bad. It was $100 and some shipped from a company. If anybody's interested, I can let you know where I did that. Really nice big block, and I've been using it for little projects. These down on my bandsaw. I'm gonna use these. They're a little bit taller. You can glue it up and plane that down. And then these Swaner hardwood walnut pieces I had. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with these, but they're really beautiful pieces. That's about 1.75 inches, so this is like a 2x material, and got these planed and jointed. It'll make a nice solid piece for my cutting board. To make it two-sided, so I'll have handles, and I'm going to be using El Tight Bond number 3. This is waterproof, they say, and it has a little longer set time, and then glue up is done. Got this really handy scraper for glue. I'll put a link to this in the description, but it makes short work of getting this glue off. All right, I'm gonna put some hand grooves into each side so I can use the board on two sides. So the way I do it, I got this Bosch router table. These legs fold up, it stores pretty compact. It's got storage on the sides. There'll be a link in the description to this, and then the router sits underneath. It's not too expensive to get one of these, but it's a nice way to have a little storable router table. It's got these measurements on the side. I find that those are pretty accurate. They're like maybe a 1/16 of an inch different thickness, so just got to account for that. The way I do it is I just put a ruler and measure this distance and measure this distance to the other side. So I got this marked. I marked the center, and then I marked 2 inches onto each side. So we set a stop block right on that mark, right at the center of the bit. Set another stop block right at the center of the bit. So we'll just raise it slowly until we get a decent shaped groove. Should be pretty straightforward process. I'm using a 3/8 round bit from Freud. There'll be a link in the description to that as well. And this has a vacuum attachment. This opening here is adjustable to take into account the size of the router bit you're working on. It's got a groove on the top and a groove on the bottom for this feather board that we'll use as well. It's MDF top. It's not a metal top. It's pretty good. I mean, you could spend more money like on the Rockler one, but it also has power control by switch, which is really nice. You don't have to reach underneath to get to the router. This Bosch router is pretty good that it comes with. There's a way to adjust it from the top, but I just do it by hand. It's got this little wheel here, and it's got adjustment, and then to get more adjustment, you can open the little collar here. So I'll set it up. You'll see how it works. Trying to avoid tear out on the end grain, so I just clamp my cut off pieces that I trimmed the board down to, and it works pretty well. I mean, this could be fixed a little bit with sanding, but you don't have any tear out on this pass, and I think that's about the radius that I want, using a Makita palm router in this Makita palm router. So we'll just go all the way around and hit all the sides. It's important to do the end grain first, so if there is tear out, you might be able to catch it when you do the sides. All right, got all the routing done. Did pretty well. Only got tear out right here. Not a big deal. That's to be expected. I mean, that bit comes around and it just lifts off some of these fibers on the end. So I'm gonna get it sanded now. I'm gonna work through the grits with the random orbit. I'm gonna go 80, 120, 220, 320, see how that feels. Spray it with water, raise the grain, and sand it again with 320 or maybe 400. I'll probably just get a little piece of sandpaper and work this edge a little bit to try to fix that. That won't be a major item, but all right, got it all sanded to where I want it. 320 grit. I bet you can't find that little spot of tear out now. It just blends in once you get it sanded. Working through the grits, it becomes really hard to tell. It might have been there. You can kind of see there's a little bit more of a curve there, but anyways, looking really, really nice. Next step is we're going to spray some water. It's kind of a temptation when you're a beginning woodworker that once you're done sanding, you want to get all the sanding dust off with water, but the problem is if you keep doing that, you will keep raising the grain and you'll have to keep sanding it. You'll win at some point if you don't over sand. All right, got this all sanded down, wiped it down with a tack cloth. These are the 3M ones. They work pretty well. I'll put a link to these in the description if you need some. For finishing, we're going to be using the walrus oil, cutting board oil, coconut oil, beeswax, pure mineral oil, vitamin E. It says apply oil and dry for 12 to 24 hours, wipe away excess. And then after that, we'll hit it with the walrus wood wax for cutting boards. Let's give it a little bufferoo. So this, you just shake your body. And then you can put it on by hand, and then the leftover will leave a little bit of hand lotion. Alright, so this is dried overnight with the walrus oil, cutting board oil. So at this point we just wipe off the excess. We'll hit it with some wood wax, let that dry an hour or so, whatever, and then we'll buff that same way and it'll be all done. Same ingredients, just a little bit thicker, gives it a nice little polish. All right, so finished product, got it all wiped down, came out nice and flat. That Yellowheart, Purpleheart, Walnut, Purpleheart. You can see how purty it is, and little hand flippers, little hand holes for being able to use both sides instead of having to use feet. And no juice groove. I'm not going to be doing a lot of meats, and I find it's just another thing to have to clean, and little pieces of vegetables and stuff getting stuck in there. So really, really beautiful. So again, Swaner hardwoods. You got the Walnut Purpleheart from them. It's about 13 inches wide, depth for cutting. And it's about 1.5 inches thick and 23 inches wide. So cutting board care, they will need more moisturizer every couple months or less, depending on how much you wash. Make sure to wash both sides. Don't get one side wet and not the other. Store it upright. And you can cut away on it, and just when it gets worn out, you can resurface, sand it down, and refinish. So thank you everybody for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate any support that we can get.